Greetings, dear viewer, and welcome to Purposes Crossed, where I hope that people who are called by Jesus for different purposes cross paths and exchange ideas. In this video, we continue with devotions based on the Psalms. In the previous video in this series, we dealt with Psalm 1, a Torah psalm that extols the virtues and rewards of the person who observes its teachings. Today we will consider Psalm 2, which is a Messianic psalm, which is one of only 3 anonymous psalms in the first book of the Psalter. Please pause the video to read or listen to Psalm 2. I have given links to both in the description below. Psalm 2 is full of irony. The nations are said to conspire, but their plotting is in vain. The kings of the earth set themselves, only to hear Yahweh later declare, "I have set my king on Zion." The rulers plan on breaking the bonds that subjugate them to Yahweh's king, only to realize that it is Yahweh's king who will break them with a rod of iron. And in the middle of all of this, we hear that Yahweh laughs at the pitiful tactics the kings of the earth employ in the vain attempt to escape from Yahweh's sovereign rule. And in the end, the kings of the earth are exhorted to heed the warning and serve Yahweh by serving his king or face his wrath. Now, some of the words from verse 7 are alluded to at Jesus' baptism and at his transfiguration. And because of this, Psalm 2 is often quoted in the New Testament. At Pentecost, Peter quotes the first 2 verses to link the psalm to the conspiracy to crucify Jesus. In Acts chapter 13, Paul cites verse 7 in the context of Jesus' resurrection. The book of Hebrews quotes the same verse to underscore the fact that Jesus is superior to the angels and also to highlight his role as our high priest. In Revelation, in the letter to the church to Thyatira, Jesus quotes verse 9 as a warning to the wayward church to repent. Later in the same book, in the context of a vision of Jesus' birth, John quotes from verse 9. And still later in the same book, while describing Jesus' return, his judgment is said to be the fulfillment of verse 9. Now, one common theme that links all these different verses is a declaration that things are not as they seem. There is a reality that our physical senses can perceive. And through our senses, we get the impression that God is lost. He has lost control of the world as the nations wage war against each other, as injustice not only becomes common, but also gets support from the various laws instituted in different nations. With this perspective, all is lost. There is no hope because the strong will trample on the weak and the rich will exploit the poor. Justice will be what those in power declare it to be. And with such a perspective, the human shaking of the fist against God will seem to have had the last word. However, the psalm invites the singer to see another reality that lies closer than we can imagine, out of our perception by our senses, but glaringly obvious to those who have eyes to see beyond the veil. In this reality, God is only biding his time, hoping that humans would learn from their gross mistakes. Yet, in the unseen realm, he has enthroned his king, who runs his creation according to the foolish wisdom of the Creator. The rebellious nations are able to wage war against Yahweh and his Messiah only because Yahweh does not wipe them out. And they are warned that Yahweh's patience is not limitless. There will come a day when he will call all nations to account. And on that day, those nations who willingly obeyed him, expressed as taking refuge in him, will see a bright future, that those who continue to rebel will be denied. Thank you.